Will the market go up, or will the market go down? It was the second morning of February. The NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange were covered with shorts. The wind blew from a cold, gray sky. "This is the day," said a voice from under the ground. "This is the day I will make my prediction. Will the markets go up, or will the markets go down?" The voice came from a hole in the middle of the field. It was the groundhog, coming up out of his tunnel, talking to himself. "If I don't see my shadow, the market will go up. I can go right out and spread the glad tidings." The groundhog's nose came up in the hole, pausing there. "But if I do see my shadow, I'll go back in my tunnel. It will mean bad news. The market will go down." The groundhog shivered. "How nice it is that I am expected to stay out only when I have good news," he said as he raised himself up onto his front paws. "Nobody wants to hear of a down market." He looked at the gray sky. "No shadows today," he said. "The market will go up." He hopped out of the hole. "I must tell the investors. It will please them all, even the grouchy Investor Village investor who sneers at all my predictions." He started off and stopped. "Wait," he said. "The market is an important matter. I must be certain there is no sun. I must make sure I have no shadow." He tried to smell the sun. He raised his ears and listened for it, but all he smelled or heard was a truck on the road at the edge of the field. The road was beyond the end of the groundhog's world. He paid no attention to the truck or to the words on it that read, "Artificial Green Sprouts Company, Inc." As the truck rounded a bend in the road, a green sprout flew from it. The green sprout sailed high across the field on the wintry wind. "No sun and no shadow," the groundhog was saying to himself as he examined the snow at his feet. "Definitely an up market." Smiling, he set off toward the woods, where most of the investors slept during the cold bear market. "How delighted they will be when I tell them," he said. "My predictions will spread joy throughout the land." And he hopped along happily, humming an upmarket song. Suddenly he halted. There, with its stem in the snow, was a bright green sprout in full bloom. The groundhog stared at it. His eyes grew wide and his mouth open. "The upmarket," he whispered. Then he shouted, "The upmarket! It's here now!" He broke into a run. "I never have made a better prediction than this. Even the Investor Village investor will congratulate me." He yelled through the woods. "The upmarket is here!" he shouted. "The upmarket?" said the banker. "The groundhog said so," the retail investor cried, dancing around in the snow. "An upmarket?" said the hedge fund. "Is it really an upmarket?" "The groundhog said so," said the day trader, hopping with joy and skidding on a missed estimate. The foolish investor stuffed the last of his money into SPY. With a carefree cheer, he jumped from his hollow tree and landed in a bear raid. "An upmarket!" yelled the institutional investor. "Thanks to the groundhog." "The good predictor!" cheered the value investor, holding out a paw as the groundhog ran by. "The upmarket is here!" the groundhog kept shouting in a voice that was becoming rather hoarse. "I predict the upmarket is here now!" He ran on to Kramer's cave. When Kramer woke up and heard that the groundhog was saying, he roared in delight. "Groundhog, you do better every year. An upmarket? An upmarket in February? "Splendid! What would we do without you?" "I don't know," said the groundhog, swelling up his chest as he ran off. At last he came to the Investor Village Investor. The shouting and cheering had waked the Investor Village Investor, and now he was grumpily rooting under a tree stump for stock picks. "An upmarket! An upmarket! It is here!" the groundhog shouted loudly in the Investor Village Investor's ear. "Harumph!" said the Investor Village Investor. "An upmarket!" said the groundhog. With his mouth full of frozen stock picks, the Investor Village Investor turned around and glared at the groundhog. "Look," he said, snorting and thrusting his snout toward the windswept field. "Foreclosures! Bank failures!" It's an upmarket," said the groundhog, suddenly shivering. "Go away," said the Investor Village Investor, and he went back to his stock picking. The groundhog went back to the other investors. "An upmarket really is here," he said. "Come, let me show you." "Of course an upmarket is here," said the day trader. "You said so." "And you are always right," said Kramer. "If you were not, we would not believe in you." "Come," said the groundhog. The investors followed him to the field, where they saw the green shoot in full bloom. It was more than they needed to see. They danced in a circle around it and shouted in praise of an upmarket and of the groundhog. The Investor Village Investor stopped rooting for stocks and came over to see what was going on. The happy investors watched him as he trotted up to the green shoot. "You see," the groundhog said, "an upmarket is here." "Harumph!" said the Investor Village Investor, staring at the green shoot. Then he rooted it up out of the snow, took it in his mouth, and chomped on it. He tossed the green shoot aside. "The leaves are speculation. The stem is government deficit spending. And the petals are zero interest rates," he said. "And the lot of you will freeze out here." As he left, he glanced at the sky and at the groundhog. "I have a prediction to make," he said. "The market is going to crash." And it began to crash. Shivering, the investors looked at the twisted green shoot, and they looked at one another. The groundhog began to creep quietly away. "Just a moment," bellowed Kramer. "There is some explaining to be done. Who is the cause of all this? Why are we out here in a crashing market?" "We were celebrating an upmarket," said the institutional investor. "We were all so happy," said the retail investor. "Until the Investor Village Investor came and chewed the green shoot." "Precisely," shouted Kramer. "And now we're broke and miserable and ridiculous. It's perfectly clear who's to blame." The investors nodded. They blamed the Investor Village Investor, of course. And on the second morning of every February, the groundhog continues to make his prediction. Will the market go up, or will the market go down?